These are all articles that talk about Instagram dying or Instagram is dead. They're dated all the way back to 2018 up until literally last week. Instagram is not dying. Instagram is not already dead. And that is a hill that I will die on. If you currently feel frustrated when you use Instagram, it is probably because you're either using it incorrectly or inefficiently. And hi, if we haven't met, my name is Lex. I'm the owner of Page Media Co. and the creator of the Social Media Survival Guide, which is an immersive experience that is designed to help you survive social media as simply as possible. So whether you are a business owner that currently runs your own profiles or you're a social media manager looking for support in your business, the guide has something for you. You can connect with me directly on socials for exclusive updates, extra content, and for everything else, you can visit thesocialmediasurvivalguide.com. As always, everything will be linked in the description, and you know why we're here. So let's get into it. Why should you optimize your Instagram account? Instagram is an essential tool in the marketing campaigns for both big businesses, small businesses, personal brands, and with over 1 billion monthly users, the platform offers a huge opportunity for a very large audience. And in the new year, it will be more important than ever to optimize your Instagram presence. The competition is fierce, and I don't say that to instill any sort of fear or sense of urgency when it comes to using social media, but with so many users, both consuming content and creating content, you have to stand out from the crowd. If you don't, you're missing out on some very valuable traffic. Instagram is a super powerful tool that can be and should be used, especially if you're using Instagram in its intended way of being a nurturing platform rather than relying on it for outreach. So you want to make sure that anybody new who lands on your profile knows exactly who you are, what you do, how to work with you, and really just making sure that that newcomer has a good experience, whether it's purchasing from you, working with you, supporting you, or just in general joining your community. So it's super important for your brand awareness and really giving a humanizing element to your business. It's also really important to optimize your Instagram because it's always changing. It is constantly evolving. They always have new features and updates coming out. Some are great, some are not so great, but it's important to stay up to date with these changes to make the most of the platform, especially because creators who take advantage of new updates and features and tools within Instagram are usually rewarded for that. So how do you optimize your Instagram? The next few minutes are going to be filled to the brim with the exact steps to take to optimize your Instagram profile. And if you want to see it all listed out in easy to follow steps, you can check out the blog post that I linked in the description. So first, we're going to start at the top with your profile picture. You want to make sure that the photo you're using is clear, high quality, and accurately depicts who's actually running the account. So you want to try to use a headshot that captures your branding or possibly even just a copy of your logo or a submark. But I really recommend keeping your profile photo as on brand as possible. So think about even like the clothes that you're wearing in this photo. And this isn't to make sure that you have a perfect Instagram aesthetic. It's just to tie in that profile picture to the rest of your branding, because your branding is important that it's carried across all channels of your social media, especially within your Instagram account. If you don't have any photos that perfectly match the branding of your business, think about things like Canva's background remover tool, or even something like Lightroom where you can play around with the different colors, or even just grab a quick selfie wearing a shirt that's one of your brand colors. Next, your name section and your handle. Your name section is one of the biggest SEO opportunities that you can take advantage of on your Instagram profile. So you want to make sure to include as many keywords as possible in here. Again, explaining who you are, who you work with, your ideal type of client, the actual products you're providing, and think about it in the way that there are people who will be searching for what it is that you do or what it is that you sell, but they're not necessarily going to be searching you by name unless they're searching your business out specifically. But just in general, if you're hoping that somebody stumbles upon your profile on Instagram and immediately loves what you do or your service or your product, one of the best things you can do is put keywords in that name section. So get in the mind of your target audience. What would they be searching? And again, try to include as many of those keywords as possible in that name section. When it comes to your actual Instagram handle, I recommend avoiding any underscores or periods or excessive numbers unless that's part of your business name. But just in general, those handles can look kind of spammy. It might be hard for somebody who doesn't know you or your business or your brand to trust that account when it does kind of look spammy. So that's kind of just a personal preference, but I do like to suggest that. Then your Instagram bio. So you have a very limited amount of space here to make a very large impact. I recommend breaking your bio down into separate lines, so no more than like 4 to 5 words per line. I recommend adding in a little bit of emojis, show a little bit of your personality. But on that first line, I try to really explain who it is and who they are, what they do, what the services that they provide. In the next line, I'll maybe include something like a sparkle fact or something that helps to establish authority in that industry. And then I always try to include what somebody will find when they click on the link in your bio. So on mine, I have it pointing that you can find guides and templates and how we can work together when you click on that link. Now, when it comes to your actual link in your bio and all of the contact options that are underneath of that, you want to make sure that all of this is very up to date and just making sure, especially if you are a physical location, that you're utilizing every single one of these features. So it depends on what systems and softwares you're already working with, but there's things like Acuity scheduling or Vagaro can link directly to Instagram. So somebody could book an appointment or reserve a table right through your Instagram account. You'll find all of that in the settings. We're not going to dive too far into it right now. But when it comes to your link in bio, I highly recommend landing people on what is called a links page. So think of it as like a very condensed version of your website. You can switch this out routinely. So like if one week you are really heavily promoting a specific product in your shop, you might want to change that link in your bio to be the link directly to that product. And then maybe the next week you're just doing an overall sale on your site. You might just link directly to your homepage. However, if you look at something like the link in my bio, I have pretty much everything that I want people to have readily available to them that I can provide right there as soon as they click. So rather than going to the home page of my website, it actually lands on this link page where you can see everything that I direct people to. So again, just making sure you're really using that link in bio strategically. And as always, I'm not a website developer, but just really helpful tip that somebody told me one time. You want to try to keep the clicks from that link in your Instagram bio to the checkout button as small as possible. So if somebody has to click into that link and then they have to navigate around to find the specific product that you were talking about in a reel that they saw, and then once they get to that product, there's 10 other buttons that they have to click just to get it into their cart, somebody's going to give up after like 60 seconds of having to click around to find something. So again, I recommend using that super strategically. Change it out for what fits with what you're promoting that week or just what you want people to have immediate access to. Then we're going to move down to your highlights. And I think I have a very unpopular opinion about Instagram highlights. I actually think the importance of them is getting less and less relevant. I think that Instagram pinned posts are actually a little bit more important, but you do still want to make sure that you're keeping your highlights updated and of course using them strategically. So in your Instagram highlights, and this is going to vary significantly depending on who you are, what it is that you do, the type of business that you have, but just some core highlights that I recommend having is one, explaining who you are, not necessarily who the business is, but explaining who you are. Tell a little bit of your story, maybe how the business came to be, and then have a separate one that really explains the vision and the values behind your business. And then another one to really explain the services that you offer, how to work with you, like what steps to take. I recommend having one if you have a team or employees that you want to showcase on there. I recommend having one where your customers or your clients can tag you in things. And then of course, just like a highlight where you're just showing some of your favorite products or maybe some before and afters of clients' feed if you're a social media manager. Again, it's really going to be different depending on what it is that you want to showcase, but those are just some core things I recommend having in there. Now, these 5 points are really what people are going to hit before they start scrolling down your page, which is where strategy and optimization gets a little bit more personalized. And it's just a little bit too in-depth for this 10 to 12 minute YouTube video. So if you want to really dive deep into optimizing the rest of your Instagram account, I'm going to link my Instagram Audit Academy in the description where we go over all of the points that we just talked about, but way more in detail and way more actionable steps that you can take, as well as continuing to audit down your profile with your follower and your following health, your content strategy, your captions, and your hashtags. Overall, optimizing your Instagram account is crucial if you want to see growth or success on the platform in the new year. Focus on high quality content, staying up to date with new features, and creating genuine connections while engaging with your community. I've linked some additional resources in the description to help you continue to optimize your profile. And as always, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!